Right, and I've been doing the same thing for 20 years, but now the gray is much more. Usually, the base, it's all done, I don't know, like a brown, and then highlights, basically. And I love the, you know, the ashy color, etc.
The base is done brown, then highlight on the top?
Yeah, like the basic way, like you'll see it here, you see? Like every time I have roots, we do dark, and then
so you color the roots, then you highlight it?
Yeah, and it obviously looks perfect, beautiful, etc. I have a lot of gray that's coming out in the last few years. So now every like 3 weeks, I can find little silver. And the base is so dark that I don't know what to do. Like I have to go and redo it. And to be honest, it's a lot of maintenance for me. So I was wondering if there's any way we can, I don't know if you have any suggestions on gray blending or some way to make it less maintenance. But for me to have some different colors in my hair, because curly needs dimension.
Have you tried doing only highlight with that color?
I've never tried that, no.
Because your natural dark color is dark.
Yeah, very.
So what happened is, before you didn't have much gray, or you have maybe less amount of gray than this. When you apply a color, you have the pigmentation of the dark plus the pigmentation of the color, then you add the highlight, then that have an impact on the quality of the highlight. Now you're actually in a better position because your amount of gray is higher. When the amount of gray is higher, you don't need to worry much about the dark one because most, like you got 60-70% is the gray. So if you add,
so that would be better with the highlights is what you're saying?
That would be better in general to land on a nicer color, healthier color with less red without coloring.
Okay, how do we do that?
You just add a few highlights, and before we wash the hair, we do a quick color, like for 5 minutes only between the foils. What that will do will give your gray color a little bit of more grayish tone. Nothing to last long, but just to kind of give it a more blending. Plus, it's gonna soften the darker shade that's still left, which is the small amount of dark that you have, without lighting them too much. Only half shade, but that half shade is enough to kind of make it look slightly softer.
Okay.
But when they ended up coloring your roots with something closer to what you have now, so basically they're changing the dark 3 shades lighter.
Yeah.
And that's how the hair is turning light brown, then it washes out to a little bit warmer or more orangey in the future.
Right, because my base is so
you don't want that. The less you have this shade, the more nicer your blonde will be.
Yeah, I mean, I love blonde. I mean, the ashier, I love blonde, obviously, but I started out a long time ago. So my only worry is that everything won't look cohesive. So, but I'm happy to try something that's less maintenance. So, with your idea, how often do I need to maintain?
Every 3-4 months, and you add only on the top few foils. You should start ignoring the back.
Yeah. So you're going to be able to maintain this color, or you're going to give it a different, like grayish, silverish?
I will try to give you something closer, as much as I can. The color that I will do, you will see more the gray in between.
So cooler tone, maybe?
No, the gray.
The gray.
So your gray is not going to be disappeared.
Okay.
You're going to still see your gray.
Okay.
But you're going to have a combination of, on the parting, 50% gray, 50% highlight, and your dark will still be there.
And that's gonna, okay.
Now what you have here is 50% highlight, 50% the color that they have done before they did the highlight.
Okay, yeah.
So when you look at here, you don't see gray.
Yeah.
You see the warmer tone, which is more visible when you go to the top. At the very front, you don't see what's happening because they added a lot of blonde here. But if I expose the lower part, so what do you see here?
Yeah.
You see half light brown, which is washing out to a little bit warmer shade, and half blonde, or less than half blonde.
Yeah.
If we do it the way I'm suggesting, you see this color? It's still going to be there. It's not going to go away. You're going to have some blondes.
Love the blonde, yeah.
And then the dark that you have we're going to soften it just a little bit. So it's going to look half shade lighter, but not too much light.
Okay.
So that the impression will look completely different. And when you lift your hair up, you're going to tell me the feeling here is different than the feeling there.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point from shifting to gray blending.
Is it possible to add a little bit more highlights framing the face?
We will increase the amount of highlight,
Okay.
but we have to as well be careful with that. Because the minute you add too much blonde, when you have a regrowth, This dark spot will look like you have a dark roots growing.
Oh yeah, which
Then
is what I'm trying to
then
avoid.
even the blonde, the gray area, is still gonna show there is, because the blonde still not same as gray.
Yeah.
You need a mixture of blonde and gray. So if you transform all the gray to blonde, you're gonna have a line. If you
Right.
transform all the dark to blonde, you're gonna have a line. So the only way to land on a good mix is to have both still showing. The minute you tell me, I don't want to see my gray, but I want a gray blending, means you're not asking for gray blending. You're asking to do exactly the same thing.
That's your suggestion for the lowest maintenance.
For the, not just for the lowest maintenance, your highlight will lift now much quicker without damaging the hair.
Okay.
You got a beautiful thick hair, but your highlight is not in the best condition because not because they pushed the highlight too light, because they did it on the top of a colored hair.
Okay, so we're going to improve the
When you
quality
do
of
it,
the
when
hair.
you do it on the top of a natural hair, it's a whole different story.
Okay,
Does that make any sense so far?
makes sense. I haven't done it before on natural hair, but now that I have the gray, why not?
So we're still doing highlight. Basically, it's a highlight.
Okay.
The only difference that we're not coloring what's in between the highlight. We're not coloring the hair before the highlight. We are after washing the foils or before washing the foils. In between the foils, I'm gonna put a quick color. That color will not cover your gray. We'll just give it a little bit of feeling of more silverish look.
Yeah.
But the point from adding that color is actually only to soften your dark tiny bit. Maybe shift it from being number 3 to being number 3, between 3 and 4.
Okay.
Okay, not as dark. Not to cover the gray, not to hide the gray, just to create a nice blend so it doesn't look too obvious.
Yeah.
And I would suggest that we do that only on the top. The back, where you have a lot of redness, it's an option actually to tone the color more darker, not lighter.
Okay.
If we do that, it will not look as warm as now. This area is a little bit warmer. It's an option to kind of tone it down one shade.
To make it darker or cooler?
Cooler.
Yeah,
But when you
I
make
love
it
the
cooler,
cold,
when you make
yeah.
it cooler, it will look darker.
Yeah.
You cannot make it cooler without making it darker.
I kind of love the ashy framings. I love silver. I mean, I always ask my hairdressers to put as much silver as possible. I love silver. But
Now, the only challenge that you have to keep in mind when the hair is quite thick is the amount of highlight. Because usually if the hair is medium to thin, few foils, they do the job. You have a lot of hair, and usually when the hair is thick, the minute you, let's say I do a highlight here, okay, in this foil, I put this in a foil. The minute you, because the hair is quite thick, the minute you take a small part and you drop it above it, it tied it. Means we have to add a little bit more extra highlight on the top, but I cannot keep doing that everywhere.
Okay.
So our highlight will be only the first inch
yeah.
and the top part, this part.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do a lot of foil. So I'm with your
So
idea.
what will happen is this particular section where I'm adding the highlight, I'm talking about this, the challenge actually in this part, where's our work. Give me this, you can leave that. So if I do one foil here,
Yeah.
okay, and I do one foil there, okay,
Yeah.
I do highlight here, and I do highlight there.
Okay.
And I leave a small skinny section in between.
Okay.
When you open this tiny little section that's left in between and you do this,
I'm going to see this.
you're gonna see the gray because your hair is quite thick. So even the leftover small section between the highlight, it will hide the highlight before it and after it. Okay?
Okay.
Anyway, so you try it first time, you see how you feel about it, then we can adjust.
Okay.
You will never understand exactly what I mean till we do it.
Okay.
Okay, but I promise you on the long term, the color will look nicer. The gray blending will look much better. You're not gonna see this line anymore.
Okay.
You're gonna tell me now I can leave it much longer and I don't need to come to you even. I can leave it for even 5 months, 6 months. And even if I do that, it still looks good.
I don't need to put the spray like that.
Yeah, and the highlight, it's very important. It's gonna look much healthier because now I'm lightening from a purely virgin roots. I'm
Happy
not
to
lightening
try
from a colored hair. And because you're purely virgin roots, majority of it is gray, means the color will come out nicer with no red tones, no yellow tones, nothing. And it will lift quickly because it's already white. And the more gray you have, you're gonna have even a better blonde on the long term. So you will set up your hair for a much better blonde and healthier blonde in the future. So all the area at the top, which gets shorter and shorter because all the pressure on it over years, is going to start getting again healthier and longer. And that's why your hair never recovered over the past few years, because all the pressure is here. Your curls will come back to you because the highlight over here is healthier than how it used to it. Okay?
Let's do it.
Okay, let me give you the breakdown of the price. If you're happy, we'll start, all right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you notice, the dark's still there. All the dark's still there, the gray's still there. It's just the combination of three. So what happened now, your dark and your gray makes the blonde highlight even more nicer as a color. When you color your gray, it's gonna wash out to a weird tone. When you lighter your dark one, it's gonna wash out to an orange. So whatever highlight comes, and regardless how clean the highlight is, the combination of three will not look good. But now you keep your natural as it is, you keep your gray as it is, so there's no reflection of yellow, no reflection of orange. So the highlight comes in, even if you don't push on the highlight to be extremely blonde, just a nice soft highlight, the combination of three create this beautiful mix. Over here, you can still some dark going on. So now when your roots grow, you're not gonna feel there is a line. Over here, you still see your gray. So when your gray comes out, you're not gonna see a line. And the same applies everywhere. Look
Nice.
look at the depth of the color.
Yeah.
You feel like you got a nice wave of 3 dimensions.
Yes,
You
I
see
do.
the dark, you see the gray.
I love
but
the
they all
darkness.
blend well. And the
Yeah.
beauty when the gray grow, this will not bother you at all. You're gonna feel like, you know what, I love my gray even better now.
Yeah, no, this was a
You see that?
fantastic way.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like a rainbow. Very nice.
Because now you're following the distribution of dark and lights from your natural. You're not creating your own distribution that doesn't match the regrowth. Because soon the gray comes in, come different patches, different densities in different areas. So it's very difficult to follow up. But if you keep it as it is, you just introduce something within that, then you're not changing anything. So when new roots comes, still sinks in beautifully.
I really like this. Yeah. Thank you for not making it
You're welcome.
for not making it too dark at all.
It sounds complicated, it's actually very simple, all right? I need
To you.
I need you to stand up from it. And even what we have done today, we stopped repeating it on the regrowth. When this combination, it's everywhere, you're not going to see any of those.
The warmth, it'll all be
The
silvery.
inside, I actually, you see this one?
Yeah,
Was
I really
very
like
red.
this. Yeah.
Now it's not there anymore.
I really
cleaned
like
it up.
that.
Okay, so now you got a combo.
You went darker with the back?
I went darker at the back.
Wow. Never thought that would
Removed
happen.
to the orange.
Yeah, matches really nicely. Thank you.
Beautiful. You look amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you,
really
darling.
love this.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
You're
so
great.
much.
Thank you.